what we're gonna do is kick things off with 2 minutes of cardio of your choice. So you guys can pick what you want here. What we're gonna do is actually mix 2 movements together. So we're gonna have jumping jacks for 30 reps, and then we're gonna move into burpees for 5 reps. And we're gonna alternate back and forth between those two for that 2 minute block. Once we clear that 2 minute block, we go into the next 3 minutes where each minute on the minute, you're gonna go through 10 running high knees, into 10 deadlifts, so that's with the single or double dumbbell, whichever you prefer. So coming down, standing up, and then moving into 10 bent over rows. So with that, all 3 of those movements have got to fit into the minute each minute, so don't pick anything excessively heavy. Remember, it's a warm up as well, so you want to make sure you're just giving that body time to loosen up. Good to go, Em?
Yep.
All right, so starting the timer in 10 seconds. Remember, 2 minutes of cardio of your choice. You can pick what you want, as long as it's nice and straightforward. It's going to get that heart rate up. And let's go for it. So 30 jumping jacks into 5 burpees. If you want to just follow along with what we're doing, this is a good couple of movements. Doesn't take any equipment, doesn't take too much space. As I said, if you want to throw in some shuttle runs, some running high knees, some skipping, whatever you want to do is cool, as long as it's continuous for those 2 minutes. So once she hits the 30 marker on these jumping jacks, she's going to go down to 5 burpees, going chest to ground and then up to a jump. So just starting off nice and slow, and then each time we go through this sequence, we're going to just ramp the speed up just a little bit each time. And that way, by the time we get to the end of this 5 minute block of warming up, we'll be ready to go for that build workout. Nice. So with the jumping jacks, guys, you'll notice the feet jump out and in, so it doesn't have to touch in the middle, but fairly close in the middle, and then just outside of shoulder width at the widest part. Hands are going to go from legs up to overhead. Keeping the arms nice and long as well. Try and maximize how much movement's happening at the shoulders. Okay, and then we go through the burpees. We're looking at rolling ourselves down flat to the ground, so chest fully touching the floor. We're going to jackknife those hips on the way back up. So notice she's not tucking the knees and bringing her legs through her arms. She's keeping the legs and the feet behind her arms and getting the hips nice and high. From there, she comes up to a nice upright position where she gets the hands to contact overhead. Okay, so 20 more seconds. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So into running high knees for 10, deadlifts for 10, bent over rows for 10. And we're going to do that each minute on the minute for the next 3 minutes. If you happen to finish that workload early, you'll get to rest the remainder of the minute. So with the deadlifts here, really important you keep your back nice and straight, guys. This can be a little challenging sometimes with the dumbbells. It generally ends up being a deeper kind of a position to that of, like, say, a barbell. So just make sure if you need to kind of cut the depth a bit, just so you keep that back straight, that's totally fine. Bent over rows, we're actually holding the bottom of that deadlift position and then moving the arms in and out, so squeezing the shoulder blades back together. All right, so 20 seconds till the next round. Ten seconds. All right, going in 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So with the running high knees, the target is to try and get your knees up around hip height. So we get a nice big hip movement. We move back to the deadlifts now. And you notice with this, Em's tipping the dumbbells front end down, so you don't have to go both heads to the ground like we would for, say, like a dumbbell snatch. So it just gives us a little bit more reach to get to the floor there. Stance is nice and narrow, and as I said, back's nice and straight with this one. Okay, so moving through the rows. With this one, our bottom marker will be below knee height, and then top marker is getting the wrists up outside of the ribs there. So you should feel like your elbows end up behind you. Okay, second lot of that down. We've got 1 more to go. 20 seconds till we hit it. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So by now you should be nice and warmed up, should be getting your brain switched on into gear, so you can start to kind of up the tempo a little bit if you want to. Get that heart rate nice and high, but still maintaining form. So you notice with the deadlift, and it'll be the same when we go into the row as well, she's got nice vertical shins, right? She's not letting those knees drift forward. She's keeping the hips pushed back and keeping those hamstrings wound up. Nice, all right, so we've still got about 20 or so seconds left in the round, so if you're still going, that's totally fine. Just keep working through it, get nice and warmed up, and then we'll push on after that. Last 10 seconds, so hopefully you're getting through the last of those bent over rows. 3, 2, 1, and time. All right, so that is the warm-up done, guys. Have a little bit of a chill for a minute, grab some water, and then we're gonna check out the move section next. Okay, so now we're gonna check out the move section. So what we have for this one is a 12-minute alternating EMOM. We have 3 working minutes we're gonna be going through. So minute 1, we're gonna be looking at a crossbody mountain climber. So Em's gonna take a nice solid push-up position, and then we are bringing the knees up, but towards the opposite elbow. So we have a little bit of a kind of a corkscrew motion through that midsection. That's gonna be minute 1. Minute 2 is dumbbell clean and press. So we'll be going from front heads down at the ground, coming up to shoulders. And then from there, we can either strict press it up, we can push press it up, any sort of variation of shoulder to overhead is fine. You go with what you wanna work with there. So that's the second minute, and then the third minute we have dumbbell slide. So with this one you only need the 1 dumbbell, and what we're gonna be doing is basically bringing the dumbbell across the body whilst we're holding that push-up position. So abs, glutes, everything really locked in, make sure we're not swaying from side to side. So 12 minutes on that. You can put rest in where you need it, but try to maximize how much you can fit into that 12 minutes. Good to go?
Yep.
All right, 10 seconds. We're gonna go with the crossbody mountain climbers first. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So we're looking at 12 minutes here, guys. So this is kind of like an intermediate kind of time frame. It's not super short where we can sprint it. It's not super long where we've got to excessively pace it. It's that kind of awkward middle ground where we're going to lean on the gas. We've got to watch our output, make sure we don't blow ourselves up too early. So this movement in particular, guys, that crossbody mountain climber is very deceiving. It's harder than it looks. So if you need to take some little strategic breaks like Em's doing, maybe work a 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off kind of thing, or even 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off, whatever you got to do, just try to fill up that minute as much as you can. Twenty more seconds. So when you set this one up, guys, as you can see, Em's got her hands basically straight down from her shoulders, so very similar to like a push-up position. The leg that is out the back is fully extended, so complete straight position out the back there. Ready, and go for it. So clean and press, going up to shoulders, up to overhead. So very important with this one, guys. Nice straight back position when we go into that clean, right? If you have tight hamstrings, tight lower back, that sort of thing, and you feel like you've got to round off just to touch the floor, just bring the depth up a little bit. See, even you just go even just past the knees, and then go for that kind of shorter pull position, and that way that'll allow us to keep that nice straight back. At the top, you want to make sure you have like a moment of control, so try not to kind of bounce out of the lockout. You want to be able to hold that there just for a half a second. And as I mentioned, you can strict press, push press, you can even do a jerk if you're familiar with that movement, as long as it's nice and controlled. So Em's going for a push press, which is a good option. It's quite a quick one to cycle, so it means she's going to accumulate a bit more volume there. 10 more seconds. Three, 2, 1, and go into the slides. All right, so we've got the feet shoulder width or even maybe just slightly wider. Don't go excessively wide. We don't want to make it too easy for yourself. You want to make a position of instability where you've got to really work hard to keep the body level. So if we watch, Em's torso right now is staying really, really solid in the middle there, and it's just the arms that are going back and forth, and she's switching that dumbbell from right to left. So the hand that stays on the ground has got to do a lot of work there. It's got to push into the ground, so protract at the shoulder, get nice and active. And then we're really watching out for any excessive swaying of that torso. So if you imagine you were trying to balance like a bucket of water or something on your back, if you had that tip over, it means we're moving too much. So 15 more seconds. Three, two, one, and back to the crossbody mountain climbers. So obviously a lot of shoulders in this EMOM, guys, so they will heat up quite a bit. So as I said, take those little strategic breaks, and if you need to, like stand up, shake them off, do a little bit of movement in there just to try and get that burn out of them, and then get straight back to work. We want to look at the difference between a normal mountain climber and what we're doing here is a normal mountain climber, the arm would go kind of towards its own side elbow. With this one, we're going to the opposite side elbow. So a little bit of rotation through the midsection. You don't have to touch the elbow, but we want to go in that direction. Okay, 20 more seconds. Nice work, I'm doing good. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and onto clean and press. So it's a fairly close stance, guys. We want to kind of take that position because we've got to have the dumbbells just outside of the legs. You don't want to be setting up too wide. It'll feel quite awkward. You want to be able to just basically hang the arms straight down and make a lot of use of the hip extension into the shrug. That should do 90% of the work on that clean. The arms are just there to kind of follow that movement up and then start driving into that press. You notice that when she hits that little lockout at the top, she sort of drives that head through just to establish good lockout. You don't want to have that head kind of faded back behind the arms. 20 seconds. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and moving on to the slides. So you always want to take that moment at the start of any set of these guys is lock that body in, visualize that idea that the bucket or the glass of water on your back, whatever it is, keep really, really still. That's the whole purpose of this. If you are blitzing through the reps, but you're swaying right to left like crazy, it's kind of defeating the purpose of what we're doing. You always play around with adjusting the stance too. So if you set up really wide and you're like, this feels pretty easy, I'm rock solid, but it doesn't really feel like a challenge, bring the feet in a couple inches, see how that affects how difficult it is. Okay, 20 more seconds. So right now, as we're going to feel that burn in the shoulders start to build up, holding that static position is going to really cook them. So little breaks and then a big burst of reps. Okay, 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So just rolled over the halfway marker. We're in the crossbody mountain climbers again. Now looking at this position, guys, she has a little bit of kind of rock forwards backwards as the legs are kicking back and forth, but she's not actually bouncing up and down. Yeah, she's not jumping and moving that torso. She's actually keeping it nice and still in the middle. So really try and work for that. Doing good, Em. Okay, 20 more seconds. Last 10. Three, 2, 1, and go for clean press. Now, whilst you're doing this at home, guys, if you happen to just have the one dumbbell, or maybe it's a single kettlebell, maybe it's a loaded backpack, feel free to do this single-sided, maybe for a handful of reps, and then switch sides, mix it up a little bit, or you can go sort of single object, go from the middle, you split the stance out and go through the middle of the legs, and just kind of adapt the movement to the gear that you have at home. Okay, got about 15 seconds left, Em, you got it. Three, two, one, and go for it. So onto the slides. So you just want to position that dumbbell behind the hands and then reach through. It doesn't need to be a gigantic movement, just really just the width of the shoulders is good. And this is one of those ones that's generally better done just like that little bit slower, rather than thinking too much about like how many reps can I fit in. It's more about how much control can I have. Okay, 30 seconds. You're going to watch out as you get tired that you don't start to press your body back, like jackknifing the bum up to the roof and kind of pushing behind the hands. You want to stay over the top of the hands. Maintain that nice plank position. 10 seconds. All right, getting ready for the climbers again. 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So we're in our final cycle through. So last time on each of these movements, really try and hang on and push through as much as you can. Minimize that rest. So if you've been counting your reps along the way, see if you can just get a couple of extra reps each round here. Know that the end is in sight. Good pace, Em, nice. Okay, 30 seconds to go. So even this deep in the workout, guys, you can tell Em's getting fatigued, but she's maintaining form. You can hear the breathing picking up, but she's still maintaining that same shape, which is really important. It's that integrity of movement, yeah? Okay, 10 seconds. So giving things a shake off. We'll get ready for the clean and press. Going in 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So one thing that Em does really well with the control piece of coming back down is she kind of slowly goes from overhead to shoulder and then rolls through a little bit faster from the shoulder down. We don't want to bomb those dumbbells from top to bottom. We want to make sure we've got control of them, and that way we can get the dumbbells close to the line of our body. If we just let them swing down, chances are we're going to kind of get pulled forward, back's going to round off, and it's going to end up looking pretty nasty. So just a nice little bit of control just from the top back to the shoulder, roll them down. Okay, we'll get ready for those slides. Going in 3, 2, 1, and let's go for it. So this is the last minute of the workout, guys. You want to really push it here. Nice active shoulders, body still, and then just moving through them as many as you can fit in. So as I said, try to fit in a couple of extra reps if you can. Doing good, Em. Okay, last 30 seconds. Okay, and 10 seconds. Jump in one last time, Em, you got it. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, that is the move section done, guys. Well done. Have a bit of a chill, get some water, and then we're gonna have a look at cooling down next. All right, guys, so now that the workout is done, we're gonna go through a little bit of mobility just to finish things off. The first drill we're gonna go through is a seated spinal twist. So Em's got one straight leg, one hooked over the top, and she's gonna bring her opposite arm around and then basically turn herself to look behind her. So I'm gonna chuck a timer on. We're gonna go 45 seconds each side. Now, what you want to think about this is that left arm that's come over, it's almost like you're trying to reach for your opposite pocket and then turn as far around as you can. So use both your arms kind of as anchors to pull around. You also want to think about trying to extend and get tall, right? It's very easy on this one to kind of slouch and dump into that low back and lose the stretch. The more I can kind of arch that back up, get nice and tall, it's going to really get down into that glute nicely. So 15 more seconds on this. Try to breathe through the stretch as well. I know it can be uncomfortable at times, but try to just let yourself sort of relax into it. And switching sides. So now got right leg straight, left leg over the top. And again, anchoring with those arms, turning as far as you can and getting nice and tall. So think about from head to pelvis, stretching that out and just hanging out there. So it's kind of going to feel like you're almost sort of kind of hugging the leg into the body. Fifteen seconds. Three, two, one. All right, now from there we're going to move into an up dog stretch. So basically going to go like a push-up position, but just letting the hips drop right down to the floor. So we'll go a minute on this one. So this is going to be a really nice one after all the core work we've done, which is allowing ourselves to stretch right out. So arms is going to stay locked out. Really thinking about like from ribs right down to your pelvis, loosening that up, trying to stretch that open. Now, if you happen to do this and feel like, oh, my low back doesn't quite like that, go down to forearms. That reduces it a little bit, but still gets that nice extension. Think about kind of lifting your head and digging your elbows into the ground. And again, think about from sort of rib cage to pelvis, that line kind of opening up a little bit. And if you want to, we'll go back up to that straight arm version there, Em. If you want to as well, you can do a little bit of rotation as well. So kind of going shoulder to shoulder and just getting down to the sides there, into those obliques, getting into all the intercostals in between the ribs, all that sort of stuff. And just breathing into the stretch, trying to expand that abdomen, stretch it out. And time. All right, so guys, if you have time, go through a couple more rounds of that mobility, loosen things up. Otherwise, well done. We'll catch you next time. That has been your Move Plus class.